George Orwell's 1984. It's so much more than just a story, isn't it? It feels like a warning, a blueprint for a world of absolute, total control. But you have to wonder, how could a system like that actually work? How does the party maintain its grip so completely? Well, in this explainer, we're going to get into it. We're going to dissect the terrifying tools of psychological terror and paranoia that define every waking moment in Oceania. So let's get ready and peel back the layers of this nightmare.
You know this line, everybody does, and there's a very good reason it's so famous. Because in Oceania, this isn't just a scary slogan you see on a poster. It is the fundamental, inescapable reality. It's rule number one. It's a promise, and it's a threat that literally shapes every single thing a person does, thinks, or feels.
All right, so first up, a world underwatch. The party's control, you see, it begins with the physical world itself. It starts with the complete and total destruction of privacy, creating what is essentially an external cage built around every single individual. Just try to imagine that for a second. Truly imagine it. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, and heck, even while you're sleeping, you are being watched. Every street corner, every hallway at work, and this is the most terrifying part, every room in your own home. It's all a stage, and you are always on it. This creates this constant humming background radiation of fear that just drains you day in and day out.
And the surveillance, it comes from everywhere. It's this multi-layered system of terror. Of course, you've got the obvious tech, the telescreen in your apartment that sees and hears everything, the helicopters that just hover outside your window snooping. But the real horror, the thing that gets under your skin, is the human element. You have the dreaded thought police, who could be anyone, and who are trained to spot dissent before you even act on it. And then, maybe worst of all, you have children. Children who have been turned into spies for the state, trained to report their own parents for a slip of the tongue or one unguarded look.
And this right here? This is the psychological knockout punch. It's not just about what you say or do anymore. No, it's about what you might be thinking. An involuntary twitch, a tiny flicker of your eyes at the wrong moment. Your own body can become a traitor. It can betray you and sign your death warrant as a thought criminal, all without you saying a single word.
Okay, so constant surveillance controls what you do, but what about what you know? How does the party control reality itself? For that, we've got to go inside the Ministry of Truth. This is where Winston works, and it's where we see how the party doesn't just report on the past. It literally manufactures it from scratch.
This whole insane system is built on one core idea, and it's one of the party's main slogans. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Think about what that means. If the party can reach back and rewrite history whenever it wants, it can make its power seem totally inevitable, eternal, and most importantly, always right. The past isn't a fixed thing. It's just clay to be molded.
And what's so chilling is how bureaucratic it all is. For Winston, this is just his 9-to-5 job. An order shoots through a pneumatic tube telling him to rectify an old news article. So he just invents a war hero, this Comrade Ogilvy, completely out of thin air, types up a new story, and then he takes the original document, the actual truth, and drops it into a memory hole where it's burned to ash. And just like that, truth is gone.
And this shows you just how final that process is. Once that lie is filed and the original is destroyed, it stops being a lie. It becomes the truth. Comrade Ogilvy is now just as real as any other historical figure, because every single piece of evidence in the entire world says that he was.
So they're watching your every move, and they're rewriting history. But that's still not enough. The party's final frontier, its ultimate goal, is the human mind itself. To get true total control, they have to control thought. And how on earth do you do that? Well, you attack the very tools we use for thinking, our words. And that brings us to Newspeak. Now, this isn't about creating a new, better language. It's about creating a smaller, more restrictive one. Its whole purpose, and a character in the book explains this with a terrifying amount of glee, is to make thought crime literally impossible. Because in the end, there just won't be any words left to express a rebellious idea. The strategy is just devastatingly simple. You shrink the dictionary year after year. You take a powerful word like free, and you strip it of all its political meaning. So you can still say, this dog is free from lice, but the concept of being politically free, that's gone. The word doesn't exist. And if the words for freedom, rebellion, and individuality are gone, how can the ideas themselves possibly survive?
And right here, this is the terrifying endgame. This is the goal. The perfect citizen in Oceania is someone who doesn't have to think. They just are. They're unconscious. They automatically accept everything the party says because their language, the very software running in their brain, leaves no room for any other possibility.
So, this all leads us to the party's true masterpiece of mental control. It's the most complicated, but also the most important piece of the puzzle. It's the internal prison that every citizen has to build inside their own mind. It's the psychological trick that makes all the other lies possible.
This is doublethink, and you really have to try and wrap your head around this. It's the ability to hold two completely contradictory beliefs at the exact same time, and to accept both of them as true. It means knowing you're telling a lie, while at the same time genuinely believing that lie. It's not just being a hypocrite. It's a kind of weaponized, controlled insanity.
The best example of this is just wild. It happens right in the middle of Hate Week. An orator is on stage screaming about the horrible enemy, Eurasia. Then a messenger hands him a note. Without missing a beat, without even pausing, he just switches enemies mid-sentence. Suddenly, Oceania has always been at war with East Asia. And the crowd instantly believes it. They start ripping down the posters of the old enemy, they completely forget the old truth and embrace the new one, without ever once admitting that anything changed.
You see, this is the party's secret weapon. With doublethink, the party can be all-knowing but also constantly wrong. It can learn from a mistake by simply rewriting history to pretend the mistake never happened in the first place. It makes the party infallible, and it makes its power unshakable.
So, you have to ask, why? Why do all this? Why build this incredibly elaborate, soul-crushing system of control? Towards the end of the book, Winston's interrogator, O'Brien, finally lays it all bare. He reveals the true, horrifying reason.
It's not for some twisted version of the greater good. It's not to make people's lives better. The party isn't a means to an end. Power is the end. The whole point of the oppression is the oppression. The whole point of the torture is the torture.
And you've got to understand this because it's crucial. The party doesn't just want you to obey. They demand that you surrender. They don't just kill their enemies. First, they have to convert them. They break them down completely, capture their inner mind, and then reshape them into the party's image until they genuinely, truly love Big Brother. Only then, when the conversion is complete, do they annihilate them.
This might be the single most terrifying idea in the entire book. For the party, power isn't some abstract thing you have, it's an active thing you do. And it is only truly felt, truly demonstrated, when you are inflicting it on another human being. It's about tearing minds apart and putting them back together however you want.
And this is the future that O'Brien describes. It's a world completely stripped of everything we think of as human. No pleasure, no loyalty to family or friends, no joy. A world where the only emotions left are fear, rage, and a kind of brutal triumph. The only progress humanity will make is progress towards creating more and more pain.
Now, before he's captured, this is Winston's last desperate shred of hope. It's this one belief that he holds on to, that even though the party controls his body, his job, his words, they can't get inside his head. That his inner heart, his feelings, his love for Julia, that's his own private kingdom. And as long as he can feel human, he thinks he's won.
And this is the final, devastating question Orwell leaves us with. It turns Winston's hope completely on its head. Because the party's ultimate goal, its entire reason for being, is to prove that there is no inner heart. There is no private self that they can't break into. And the novel's horrifying, unforgettable conclusion is the answer to that very question. What happens when they finally succeed?